Hello everyone, my name is Kathleen Valeriano, and I will be explaining how language use changes depending on age and gender, especially in classroom situations. I will use simple illustrations as videos to help understand how this takes place, especially in a classroom. All right, so first, let's take a look at how age affects language. So when teachers speak to young children, they usually use simple words and more gestures overall. For example, we might say to children, let's read or let's draw, show me the cat, and then good job. But when we are speaking to older students, as teachers, we can tend to use more complex language. For example, please open up your books on page 145. We will discuss the poem's meaning. And as you can see, young learners need a more direct, concrete language, while older learners can understand abstract and academic words, right? So now let's talk about gender and language. Sometimes boys and girls use language differently, even in class. For example, a girl might say, "Hi, can I please borrow a pencil?" While a boy might say, "Hey, give me that pencil." Something like that. These are just examples. But often I believe that girls are more polite and expressive somehow, while boys may tend to be more direct. So us as teacher may also unconsciously speak differently to boys and girls. For example, we use sometimes softer tones with girls. Thank you.
My name is Leslie Cedeño, and I will talk about the socioeconomic variation. This encompasses the influence of social, class, education, occupation, and income levels on language, shaping speech patterns and dialects across different segments of society. We have a scenario. We have students who are asked to describe their weekend activities. The first student answered that I attended a classical music concert with my family, and afterward we dined at an Italian restaurant. The second student answers me and my fam went to see a movie, then got some burgers. First of all, we can notice a difference in the expressions and the difference in the activities. This is basically the socioeconomic variation, the kind of activities and expressions who are more academical. And then we have the sociolect variety. This is a characteristic of a specific group that can be based on factors like socioeconomic status, like I said, in age, education, and ethnicity, etc. Now we have that it can be different depending on the groups, and this can change over the time. This variability highlights the dynamic nature of the language that is always changing. In the social class, we have examples in the classroom. Students can use some expressions that can be different, that can be like, can affect the dynamics of the classroom. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine Franco, and I'm talk about the register variable. So refers to the variation in the language we use according to the social or situational context. Register describes the language used by groups of people with common interests or professions. It can also refer to the language used in situations associated with such groups. For example, we don't speak the same way to friend playtime as we do at a job interview. We change or register to suit the context. Another example, during a class on formal and informal English, I decide to use an example of register shift to teach them how we adapt our language according to the context. First, I present two versions of the same idea. Okay, and as you can see, this is an informal register talking about it. So, hey, did you see that thing about plastic in the ocean? It's crazy, right? I think we should do our project on that. And another is a formal register, making a presentation in class. Good morning. Today I like to present an idea for our project. I recently read about the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean, and I believe it will be an important and relevant topic to explore. Okay, and these are my examples, and this is all. Thank you.
Good evening, teacher. My name is Chankayanchundia Catherine, and the answer letter F, code switching. In a linguistic context, refers to the practice of switching between two or more language or language barriers within the same conversation or situation. It is common phenomenon, especially in a more bilingual or multilingual. Okay, individuals. For example, the following example is of a guy, a singer, and a sitting who understands English but does not speak it. Thank you. We arrive at the statue of the liberator Simon Bolivar in San Martin. It marks a Greek event, La Rotonda, and symbolizes the alliance of these Greek authors. Oh wow! It's a historical framework for Ecuador. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Katy y sí, muy aparte de Ecuador, Guayaquil también es la más beneficiada. The lady here says that apart from Ecuador, Guayaquil is worthy of this alliance. Sí, señorita. Por cierto, usted es mi cantante favorita. ¿Nos podemos tomar una foto, por favor? I think I understand your favorite photo. Miss Carpenter, Miss Cathy asks if you can take a picture quick here. Of course, let's do it.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about interesting language variable regional variables in English. So, what's the meaning? Well, regional variation refers to the difference in the way a language is spoken depending on where you live. In other words, is referred to accent, dialects, and local expression that change from region of another. Example times. A classroom activity asks you a student what do you call the things you drink water in the chicken. A student from USA may say faucet, or you by a student from the UK may say tap or John or Larry. Some objects and different work. Okay, so whether regions show a work like biscuits, unless a student gets if it is American or British English. American think as a cookie. American British thinks it's a biscuit. Okay, so why is it important in the classroom? Because as teacher or students of English, we must understand that there is no one correct way to speak English, and know regional variation help us understand different accents about confusion and become a more open-minded listener. Thank you for your wishing.